Hi guys, John Florez again with an interesting chapter to tell you about. In the old days, because I'm old. Anyway, in the old days, back when I was working for the major labels, 3 different labels asked me to pump up my finished mixes. One was Columbia with Ronnie Dyson's Captain of Your Soul. The next was Carl Graves with A&M on Walk Softly. And the one that most of you know about is Rock the Boat, but you may not know the story behind this. Rock the Boat was an album cut. I was a big believer in Freedom for the Stallion, which was the first release that we had with the Hughes Corporation. And so I put Rock the Boat as an album cut. And when Freedom for the Stallion made the charts, I didn't even release as a follow-up Rock the Boat. I took a Barry Mann Cynthia Wilde tune called Miracle Maker and thought that was going to be a big hit, which it wasn't. In the meantime, a dance club in New Jersey started playing Rock the Boat, and it was the album mix, and they started dancing to it, and all of a sudden it was the rage. So RCA called and said, "Please, John, go back in and pump up this album cut and make it sound like a single, like a dance single." So I did. So just for now, let me show you the example of Rock the Boat album cut versus Rock the Boat, the #1 single, pumped up. Okay, here you go. Okay, so this raises a really interesting topic of why didn't you pump them up in the first place? Everything you do. Well, here's what I recall. When I worked at Hyder Recording in Hollywood and did my mixes there, I had Larry Cox and primarily John Golden, who is a famous mastering engineer now for decades, but he was who I did my final mixes with. And we, by our very nature as a duo, pretty much pumped everything up just naturally. When I returned to RCA, which was my home label, though I wasn't staffed there anymore, I considered it my home, and RCA Studio A my home of all homes. So when I returned to RCA, that was called the Music Center of the World back in those days, Studio A and Grover Helsley was my engineer. And Grover Helsley is a lifelong friend. May he rest in peace. I think about you all the time, Grover. Anyway, Grover Helsley was an orchestral engineer. So if you combine John, me, who tends to be a little syrupy and sweet, with Grover, an orchestral engineer, what you're going to get is sweet. And it never even occurred to me. It's just, I was in the room I was used to with an engineer that I was used to working with, who mixed Grazing in the Grass and Going in Circles, my other 2 gold records, with me. So I never gave it a second thought that the whole concept behind how I mixed was different with Grover than it was, say, with Johnny Golden. But later on in the future, when I went to Chaton Recordings in Arizona and worked with the engineers there, it was just like working at Hyder's. All of a sudden, everything was pumped back up again. So it was the Grover and John chemistry coupled with Darnielle Pershing, may he also rest in peace, Darnielle, I love you. Darnielle was Johnny Mathis's arranger conductor before he came to work with me. So the 3 of us, Grover, John, and Darnielle, were really sweet, and it never occurred to me until labels started saying pump it up. Okay, fast forward to a couple of sessions that I was very ashamed of that I produced. One was James Bingham for Warner Brothers, and there were 2 cuts, Put a Little Love Away and Peekaboo, that I thought should be hit singles, and I didn't pump them up. I didn't make them with the intention of those tunes being hyped singles mixes. Really stupid. Well, recently, the last couple of years, I fixed those 2 cuts, Peekaboo and Put a Little Love Away, and I love them now. They're the singles that I thought they should have been, and I couldn't figure out why they weren't. Well, I needed to pump them up. Okay. I was not thinking as a market competitive producer, certainly as a mixer. I think I was market competitive with song selection and musicians and all this stuff, but not in the mixing room. Okay, the other date that I was particularly ashamed of was Lynda Seal's solo sessions after LAX, after that album. It was 1975, and we did 4 cuts, 3 of which were actually poems that Jan Manley from LAX, now Jan Radcliffe, wrote as poems, and I wrote the melodies, and we went in and cut them with Lynda and added a tune, Love Enough, that Kip Cohen, our boss at A&M, asked us to add. So it would figure. I mixed them with Grover. I didn't pump them up. Lynda came to me and said, "Do you realize that your work is getting rather sweet, John? A little syrupy and not as, say, crossover as what you used to make?" And I said, you know, that could be true. All I knew was that I really, really, really didn't like Leave Me and Something Borrowed that we cut on Lynda Seal's. And it's because it had no, pardon the expression, balls. Those cuts had no balls. So I've redone them. I'm going to show you the 4 A&M cuts for Lynda that I was so ashamed of, and I'm going to show you before and after, just like I did with the Hughes Corporation. The album cut first mixes and the pumped up second mixes. And I hope you enjoy them. And I could kick myself for both Lynda Seal's and JB's sessions that I kind of screwed up the mixing on and fixed 40 years later. Okay, so that's it for now, and as always, thanks for watching. By the way, I'm moving into my friend's guest room shortly, and I'll start my meds and begin my healing, and thanks for everybody that's checked in and asked about that. Okay, in the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
You can leave me, but leave me some memories. You can leave me, but leave me my pride. Leave me, but leave me some memories. You can leave me, but leave me my pride. Gonna light my cigarette to keep my hands quiet, watching the smoke so I don't have to see. Gonna light my cigarette to keep my hands quiet, watching the smoke so I don't have to see. That you're packing your clothes, wondering why it's ending this way. Something goes wrong, something goes right. Something goes wrong, something goes right. If we ever get our minds made up, all we gotta do is love enough. If we ever get our minds made up, all we gotta do is love enough. Something borrowed, something blue, touch of sorrow, thoughts of you. Love grown old, nothing new. Something borrowed, something blue. something sad has hidden in your eyes. We've been here before, haven't we? Something borrowed, something blue, touch of